Vivek.
Hello there, televiewers. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Well, we hope that you're having a great start of the year, and all the very best of wishes from the diary to you. Well, this week we are talking about youth entrepreneurship in Cameroon. I'm going to start with some facts. Now, according to the African Development Bank, 22% of Africa's working population are starting businesses. Now, this is the highest entrepreneurship rate in the world. It sounds great, does it not? Again, Sub-Saharan Africa is the only region in the world where women are more likely than men to be entrepreneurs. Now, that's a report from the World Bank. That's also amazing. And more good news, small and medium enterprises are now the biggest formal employers in Sub-Saharan Africa. However, this is where reality hits. Sub-Saharan Africa also has the highest small business discontinuance rate that is in the world. And these facts also apply to Cameroon. So the question is, what is happening? Well, we'll try to explain all that in this edition of the diary. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the diary on STV, and today we're talking about youth entrepreneurship in Cameroon. And well, I've put together the best team, of course, to talk about this very important subject. Today we'll be looking at the changing trends in Cameroon, some common mistakes, the areas to explore, and so much more. It's now time for you to meet all the people who will be participating in this very interesting subject that we're tackling today. Let me start with the ladies, because it's always ladies first. Her name is Nina Ngasa. She's known fondly by everyone as Chef Nina. Now, she's the owner of Chef Nina's Cuisine. She has a line of restaurants which is growing every day. She's passionate about restoration, you'd already imagine. She also runs Nina's Slow Boys. She exports snails, and she also sells in Cameroon. I know I was supposed to give that little bit of information, but it's it's out there. Nina, it's great to have you on the diary.
Thank you very much for having me, and the honor is mine. And I'm humbled to be here, and I know we are going to say some great things which is going to help to impact the viewers. Thank you.
That's the goal. Now, to the gentlemen, let me start with Chiabi Osbet Nyongo. He was my classmate. He's the CEO and co-founder of Eternal Company Limited, now a company that has been running since 2016. And that company is a marketing and tech. It's a marketing and tech company which he runs with his childhood friend, I should add. And Chiabi Osbet Nyongo has an MSc, that's Masters in Corporate Communication, and also a BSc in Journalism and Mass Communication, which is why I was saying that he was my classmate in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in the University of Boya. I like to add that bit. Osbet, it's great to have you on the diary.
My pleasure, Diane, and once more, it's like a reunion, because I think we haven't met for a very long time.
That's true.
I'm here today to share my view on what entrepreneurship is all about, because I think we need to empower young men about creating businesses and creating jobs for people. For example, I was really disappointed that PhD holders had to strike for 3 weeks to be employed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame.
That's true. I agree completely. Well, we'll talk about that some more in the course of the show. And last but definitely not the least, Richard Atemojong. I can't help but laugh. He knows why. Richard Atemojong, he's our expert for today, for this evening. He's a business journalist. He's a reporter with the Financial Times in the UK. Richie, you were a businessman. I don't know if you're still in business, but today he's going to be talking to us as the expert. Richie, it's good to have you on the show. It's good to have you back on the show.
And even at that, you still introduced me last. So
yes, I promise.
Okay.
I promised I would introduce you last for reasons you and I better understand.
Hallelujah.
New year
Great to
and
be here.
things haven't really changed.
No, they haven't.
Okay, guys, so let's get to the subject of youth entrepreneurship in Cameroon. It's a very important one, especially now, because like I said in the beginning, trends are actually changing. Now, I mentioned that the number of young entrepreneurs in Africa and Cameroon, the number is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger every day now. For those of you who are in the milieu, what would you say it is like? Let me start with you, Osbert. Are you seeing more people joining in? Is it just the statistics, or is it really happening in Cameroon?
Honestly, I think many young people are trying to be owners of businesses today for various reasons, because when you look at the social media, we have too many CEOs, we have too many general managers, as they claim to be general managers. But if you really want to ask them, do you own a business? I bet you some of them don't own a business. Not to talk about some of them will even tell you they are business coaches, they are motivational speakers. But when you ask them concretely that what did they do as business, they have little or nothing to do. But it's true that the numbers are increasing every day. The numbers are increasing. We are moving away from the paradigm in the past where when you leave the university, you always want to pick up a job in one of the big corporations so that people will think you are successful. For example, for close to 4 years, my dad thinks I'm unemployed because I don't work in any of the places that he should have known, like the big corporations, the multinationals. And for some reason, he's beginning to believe that I'm an entrepreneur and I'm able to put food for my family. But the numbers are growing every day, and like you said, there is there is some kind of lack of sustainability when it comes to the numbers. It means the numbers are going up and the numbers are coming down so fast because some people get into entrepreneurship when they are not ready. They just want to get into it because of I can say bragging rights to say I own my business. But in real fact, what is the productivity of your business? How many persons have you employed for the business? So the numbers are increasing nevertheless, and shockingly for me, Anglophones are embarking on this journey because in the past, most Anglophones want to say I work in this, I work in that.
Yeah.
But our generation, we are beginning to look at it differently, and I will accept with you that the numbers are increasing.
Okay, Nina, in your sector, in your sector, would you say the numbers are truly soaring? I should add that Nina is a law graduate. She studied law, but decided to get into business.
Okay. Well, when it comes to entrepreneurship in Cameroon, I always tell people, what you see today in Nina, I'm from a business background. Like my parents are both business people, so I have that foundation of business, and that is why going to school, even my classmates can testify, I've always been trading. In the university, I had businesses. I had a saloon. I used to sell in my university room. So, but when I look at the general atmosphere, we realize that a lot of youths are getting into entrepreneurship, and it's a good thing. And just like Osbert said, the motives of getting into business or to become a business owner really matters. Most of the time when I've been privileged to talk to some of the youths or those who approach me, I realize that the motive is where we have a problem. Are you getting into entrepreneurship because you are escaping maybe the challenges we are having, maybe finding the job, the job market is limited? Are you getting into entrepreneurship because you think you have a plan, a project, or a vision? Or are you just getting into it because you want to have your time to yourself? You want to be able to control your own activities. You want to be able to be your own boss. Just like, on social media, you hear be your own boss, and you hear things like CEO, and But I really believe that many of them do not know what they are going into, because like I told some of them someday, I'm not discouraging people, but I always say, if you are not sure, it can be a suicidal mission, because you can land yourself after so many years into some depressed state if you don't succeed. So you have to be sure of your vision, your drive, and even when you're sure of that, you have to, there's some level of training. You don't just wake up one day and things start falling into place. I believe Osbert Cicely is a friend and like a brother, like he's somebody I look up to, but he's been trained before having a tenure. He's had some jobs here and there, which it groomed him. But you have people who just want to leave from the classroom to business owners. From the, it doesn't work that. Yeah, but the inconsistency we have, the rise and fall in the figures, is because some start, then they give up. Some just start because they see everybody doing this, they start doing. When they realize it's not going, they just give up. So it rises and it falls. I think that is where we have a problem on the consistency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Richie, what's your take on this?
So this is the thing. I think consistently we have more businesses that people are trying to build than the businesses that are failing. But then the problem is, like Nina said, why do you want to get into business? And some of these ventures, do they qualify for us to term these people as entrepreneurs or call the structures that they build as businesses? Because it does us a disservice when our statistics shows that Cameroon is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world.
Yeah, the fourth actually.
Exactly.
I mean, that figure is higher. I mean, it says Cameroon has more entrepreneurs than in countries like the US.
Exactly.
You imagine that.
And that statistic doesn't materialize on the ground.
That's right.
Because you see people who are CEOs and chairman and whatever they are, and they can't put food on the table. Now, on the one hand, I want to applaud those efforts and say, keep at it, would learn good lessons from it, and hopefully someplace we're going to become better. But then the problem is, regardless of what motive you start a business, at least do what needs to be done for us to term that a business. It's not necessarily about the business planning. It's not limited to the fact that you're passionate, and it's not just that there are no jobs, because if there are no jobs in the economy and you do what you have to do to put food on your table, and that means getting into some entrepreneurial venture, that's all good and fine. To the extent that that can sustain you, congratulations, kudos, and get to it. But then there are people, the innovators, the people that would change this society, who have excellent ideas, innovative ideas, and then they are passionate, but then they don't have the structures in place to build businesses that, let me not go further, that can only outlive them, because we don't put the right structures in place. And that's why a business would start today and tomorrow it's crumbling. In as much as the environment has issues that hold us back, taxation policy, the environment, infrastructure, what is there in the country that would enable your business grow? In as much as we have all of those things that are contributing to holding the businesses back, the one thing that I find fault with in Cameroon is there are other places that have grown as well, and they didn't also have very convenient setups. But the people there said, regardless of government policy, regardless of the fact that we don't have power, regardless of the fact that energy is low, regardless of the fact that human resource is hard to come by, we're going to work with what we have and create a system that works for us. And I think that to a very great extent is what is lacking in Cameroon. We have copycat tendencies. So this person did it out there, it's working, they didn't have a job, especially like Osbert started motivational speakers. You heard some motivational speaker said, I started out, Steve Harvey said, I slept in my car, and now all of a sudden you go, okay, I don't have a car, so I want to start a business. That's all good and fine, but then you are going to have to put in place the processes that can build a business like what Steve Harvey has done. And because we don't have that, that's why you have the numbers falling after you create those businesses.
Okay, actually you beat me to that question. I was going to ask a question about the copycat thingy in Cameroon, because I was reading that only 20%, I mean, it's not only in Cameroon, in Africa in general, that only 20% of African entrepreneurs are introducing new projects and services. So everybody is copying almost everybody is copying what another person is doing. Now, Nina, in your sector, where what do I say? How do I put it? Now, do you feel that this is true when it comes to restoration, when it comes to the services you provide? Do you feel that everybody is copying the other?
Maybe not entirely. You know, one thing I always say is they are the visionaries. Those are the vision bearers, the people who give birth to ideas.
Yeah.
And then you have those who don't have that capacity, but it's like somebody has capital but doesn't have the idea of what he wants to do with his money. So he looks around like, what can I use these funds? And so he sees this person doing this and he's like, oh, it's working on, maybe I can invest and do something like this. So it all boils down to the vision bearers. So like in the sector I find myself in restoration, food catering, I've been into this for like maybe 10 years because it actually started from my mom. So as a student, I used to work under my mom's catering service, and when I finished school, searching for job, jumping from one place to another, I was always doing that before I realized that, okay, I could actually be steady on this. So, it's the culture of the African girl. 90% of the African girls can cook. You and I can bear me witness. Right. So when you talk of copycat and you see a lot of girls online, like when I started the food delivery business in Douala, that was like my strategy, which was not really common. But I took a keen survey the moment I started food delivery, Chef Nina's food delivery. I had bikes going around and delivering African food. They've always been delivering chicken chips and things like that. But with the African food, it was something which was a little bit new. It didn't take 3 months, and I realized over 10 flyers going on social media of food delivery services, we just came up in Douala after that. But I can tell you that out of the 10, 9 are not existing today.
That's true.
So something went wrong along the line. And what is that? That knowledge, that process, like you just saw somebody doing something, you don't know the mechanics put in place, the structure, you just dive in and then it cannot survive. Like, let me just be a little bit more explicit. I was selling, when I started, it was a strategy. I was selling food for 2,000 francs in a pack.
Yeah.
You understand? And they would deliver your food and you pay 2,000.
Yeah.
But somebody will be like, oh, she's making a lot of money. When you look at my lifestyle, you may think, oh, she's making a lot of money from that. You don't know what other businesses I may have at the back, which I'm sustaining myself from. You just look at what you know and you think, oh, she's making a lot of money. And to you, that's a push to start. Like I told one who actually had the courage to meet me, I said, you cannot start a delivery service for food in Douala if you don't own the delivery service, because transportation is very expensive.
Right.
When you start copying me and you put 2,000, like you took my menu, I had a lot of instances. I said, look, how do you cope when you have to hop on a bike, go to Bonanjo from Makepe? How much do you pay at the end? How much do you sell the food? So you see, that's why, and she will say, oh, sometimes you cook maybe food for 15 people, not up to 15 people order, and then you end up with food. That's money.
Yeah.
So you see, the structure, the know-how. It was a planned vision I had. Came, bought my bikes, put my delivery boxes, and started. But those who look from outside just see the result and they think, okay, but you don't know from the start to what it got there. So that's the issue about copying. It's not a bad thing to copy, but I think you can go for some mentorship. You can go close to somebody and say, hey, I really love this thing you're doing. Can you help me? But that's not something which is common around here. Nobody is really that submissive to ask for help. So we end up copying, and then maybe it crashes, maybe it works out well. But like you said, innovative ideas, the vision bearers are few. That's the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Osbert, you were able to successfully transition from working for other people to starting your own business, which has been so far successful. What do you think these people who copy and at some point abandon, what do you think they're missing?
Like Nina said, there is no harm in copying. And like I always say, when you copy and you innovate, it makes you a better person. Because if I have to copy from you, and like Nina said again, that mentorship, I need to be able to talk with you. If I'm humble enough to talk with you, I'll be able to look at your strength and work on your weaknesses. So you copy and you innovate. It should be on record that I actually resigned from a well-paid job to create what we have today as Eternal with my childhood friend Cedric Cheaze. And I will tell you that my first business venture was a failure. And why was it a failure? I had done copy and paste, and I didn't do a copy and innovate. And the first copy and paste that I did, it worked out so well for me. And when I tried to scale up, it failed woefully. And I ended up in huge debt. Just, 2 months after I got married to my wife, I was in serious debt because the business I'd invested in transportation. I had cars for rentals, and I said I'll scale up and get a 20-ton truck so that I should make more cash. Not knowing that there were some intricacies in the business that I needed someone to mentor me on, and I ended up in huge debt. And that was when I said, okay, I'm going to create something I understand well, but I'm going to be visionary. Because sometimes people will ask me, why marketing and tech? Tech is the future. Everybody is focusing on marketing. So if I want to make money and I want to impact the society, not just all about making money, because I'm someone who thinks about giving back to the community. So I was thinking of how I can make money and how I can be innovative in the business world and be relevant and be innovative. So we decided to do marketing and tech. My partner has a very rich tech background, and so far products that no one has ever delivered in Cameroon. For example, if you want to go for an event, you don't need to go buy a ticket somewhere hard copy. You just need to pay it online. We own a platform that we've built, and we are making commissions from it, and I'll tell you we are doing well just from that, not to talk of the other things that we are doing. And like Nina said, Nina brought something. I'm her client, so I can actually talk about her business too, because I'm her client and we've had too many exchanges together.
Right.
I will tell you that what she is doing or what she will do in the future is going to revolutionize the food industry in Cameroon, and people who had been there for years before she came in will be wondering that who is this young lady. Yeah, so you get in, copy, you can copy, but
bring in something new.
Yes, so you copy and you innovate. If you do a copy and paste, I think you just be as stupid as someone who just want to say, hey, this guy is living well and he's selling shoes, let me sell shoes.
Right.
Not knowing that selling shoes, maybe it could be a different way of, he could be selling shoes in a different way that you can't see. So you need to go closer to him to learn the trade. I'll tell you this, why most the Igbos in Cameroon are very successful, because when they start a business, they get someone from the village.
Yeah.
As young as the person is, mentorship is very important. They mentor you the day they are telling you are starting your own business. Sustainability is guaranteed because you have been mentored for a very long time. You know where you know what will work and what will fail. It's true that there are some changes, there are some dynamics that could come in the business terrain. But when you have been mentored, I bet you, if you are faced with such challenges, you'll be able to overcome them. So copy, but don't copy and paste.
Right.
I'll advise anyone that if you have to copy, you should copy and innovate.
I agree completely. Let it also be on record that equally Nina's client. Nina's client. Yes, it's the
so
truth.
we're all Nina's client.
Yes, we are all Nina's client.
Just to add a line, the risk about copying is you always be on standstill to see what the person you're copying from is doing.
Right.
So you don't know her next move. She can be going straight, and the moment you think she's going to take another step, she goes left. You may stand stranded. So even if you want to copy, have a mind of your own. You're like, okay, I love what she's doing in this business. Okay, what can I add to it? So it's really risky to just copy and paste, because you don't know what the visionary is doing the next minute. Right. She has a mind of her own while you're trying to watch her mind.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, Richie, what do you think are some of those sectors in Cameroon where youths or entrepreneurs in general are jumping into? I mean, everybody's following the wagon without really thinking about it.
Well, it's almost every sector. And it is. True. Because it's not like entrepreneurs in Cameroon do feasibility study and say there's a need here. Like Nina said, Osbert has started Eternal Company. He used to work for this company, he didn't go. So if I have issues in this company, I can start my own company. It doesn't matter whether you're working for media or what. But then one thing I want to say is, we can't all be visionaries and we can't all be innovative. There are few people who are going to lead that movement in society, which means the Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. What that means is there is literally nothing that you can, no idea is uniquely yours. It doesn't matter how new or salient it is. There isn't anything that you're the only person out of 7 billion people in the world whom God gifted enough to think about. Someone else is thinking about it. What you have to do is, how workable is that thing in my context? And so if you took energy, for instance, and in Cameroon, how many people understand the physics and the chemistry and how these things work enough to be able to be creative to the point that they can start up something like what Elon Musk does? If you think media in Cameroon, now this is not a new sector, but then the media landscape in Cameroon is almost so virgin. You could see all the TV organs that are here, but where is the world going to next? And how poised is Cameroon for where the world is going to? And the problem about copying is that you are always going to be trailing the person who is leading. Right? So if you're copying from, say, America is always going to be ahead of you. The thing you miss when you copy from America is that the dynamics and the context of America is not the same as ours. If you copy from, take a media mogul, you want to grow a media company here, and you say, who is the best, let's say the greatest media mogul in the world, you'd probably be naming someone like Ted Turner or Rupert Murdoch. In the UK, everybody reads newspapers. And so you go, this is nice. I want to buy the Guardian Post. I want to buy the Post. I want to buy all of these papers. And then none of those papers are sustainable enough in themselves to be able to give you money like that. And then so you don't understand what that's happening. That business is going to crumble. It's definitely not going to make sense. So in response to your question, regardless of what field you want to get into, there are fundamentals of business. It doesn't matter whether you're passionate about it, whether you're skilled about it, whether you have knowledge about it. There are basic principles for which a business thrives. If you don't learn them, it's not going to work. Only this afternoon, I was having a conversation with someone about WeWork. And WeWork is a trend that I'm beginning to see a lot of young Cameroonians want to get into. What WeWork does is they offer office space, and for anyone who's been following the news at that level, you'd understand the deep hole that WeWork is in. But their business model is still okay. It still makes sense that 21st century people, millennials, want a workplace where we can come to and feel cool and nice and exciting and stuff. But say I erected a structure in the heart of Douala here in Accra, and I say, okay, there's space here, come rent this place. How many of these young entrepreneurs in Cameroon who have an idea can afford to pay you 10,000 francs for a desk? And then you go, oh, WeWork is everywhere around the world, is the new hype. And so you create it in Cameroon. And maybe you have a strong pen, you can write an excellent business plan. Because the idea sells in the West, somebody would be dumb enough to put money into that venture. But the reality is not what works in Cameroon. And so if you're not able to twerk it, to understand, maybe I have to do something different in the way that I create WeWork here, eventually you're going to crash. And so what I think entrepreneurs need above all else is, in this Cameroon, entrepreneurs need to learn business. It's not enough to read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich or Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those books are really motivational. Or listen to Wes Brown or T.D. Jakes and then go, now I'm pumped up enough, I'm going to the economy to create something. I'm ready. It's not enough. This economy that we're in, Cameroon has, Central Africa has one of the toughest economic landscapes to
That's
grow
true.
businesses. It will chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready to go through these things. So take your time. I know Shomenkam is hard. It's okay. Sit back, get under someone, learn something, figure it out, and put the right processes in place. And in time, you can blow. All we can blow, but there is need for you to do it right. Then pick a niche, because a lot of people just want businesses to make money.
That's true.
And while Africa is being scrambled for all over again, and it is the new frontier for business, Africa's money, people who want Africa's money need to be patient. There is no one who get into ventures in this Africa that would stand the next decade, who would start making money in the next 5 years. Be patient enough, because this is, someone builds a business, and let me use Nina's sector. You start up a restaurant. Nina probably has a huge following behind her. I used to know about Chef Nina, or then it wasn't Chef Nina, it was Nina Slow Boys. Long, I saw her interview on the BBC long before I'd ever met her, before I'd ever eaten her snails or anything like that, right? Now, so you take a sector like that, and someone comes into it and says, so 1-2 days, if you buy snails for 5,000, there's a high probability that you sell for 7,000 and you make 2,000 from it. But then the problem is, 5 years from now, when there are 6 other people around you selling snails, how relevant can you be? How can you project your business into the future, so you can build structures that you are sure, okay, maybe if my demand for snails will climb this much, I think it's sensible for me to start having a snail farm. I think it makes sense for me to start training someone who can manage my snail farm. Of course, I'm not skilled in that sector. If you're thinking of expanding that sector into distribution, I think it makes sense for me to start buying bikes. If you're buying bikes, I think it makes sense for me to start making deals with the people who supply bikes abroad. And then you can have a business that it doesn't matter who grows around you, you would always be the giant. I mean, it doesn't matter how many media companies you build, you rarely ever beat Rupert Murdoch or Ted Turner. Those people are there. It's a traditional sector, but it's because they have planted their feet so strong in the ground that regardless of what comes tomorrow, they are ready for it. Our businesses are not built for the future.
Right.
Diane, I want to add what Richard said. I think 2 months ago, I did a write-up on Facebook where I said, even if you have an MBA from the Harvard University and you want to do business in Cameroon, you may end up not succeeding. And some people thought I was just making noise because I'm a business owner. But the business dynamics in Cameroon is as diverse as the ethnic diversity that we have in Cameroon. Honestly.
And that's very true.
And it's just to tell you how can I put it? Just to tell you that the business sector in Cameroon is very, very complicated. And I always tell my friends, if you are able to succeed in Cameroon, know that you succeed in any part of the world, because our diversity, as they say, Cameroon is Africa in miniature. Even in the business sector, the issues that the other countries in the SMAC zone have, I think we have all of them in Cameroon. All of them in Nigeria, we have all of them in Cameroon. And then you come to Cameroon, we have our own unique problems in the business sector, where if you are able to succeed, because business is not a walk in the park. That's the first thing I tell everybody. If you think owning a business is like a walk in the park, no, I will tell you it's not a walk in the park. If it's a walk in the park, everyone will jump into it, and since it's not a walk in the park, people try to walk in the park and they realize all the flowers in the park have thorns, and the thorns are piercing them, and you see them leaving the park, to tell you that it's very, very complicated. And I would like to talk about our sector, tech. If you go to Boya, there is the so-called Silicon Mountain. With no disrespect for the guys in the Silicon Mountain, I mean, no disrespect for them, I will tell you they make a lot of noise than they can actually sustain a business. Yes. Why do I say they make a lot of noise, but as they can actually sustain their businesses? If you see what we do at Eternal, you'll be shocked to know the clients we have, the projects we've executed, and we make little or no noise about it, because we want to build an empire that is going to live from us to the second generation, third generation, and even the fourth generation, because most Cameroonian businesses lack succession plans, because people just get into businesses to meet their immediate needs, not knowing that the business can actually be sustainable. So they are the so-called accountants of their companies, they are the so-called marketers of their companies. In fact, they are everything. Little or nothing is delegated to others. You don't build a company like that. Richard talked about structures. At times I tell people, even if I didn't go to school, I think I would have been a better entrepreneur than some people who have gone to school and they're trying to do businesses, because I have a couple of friends who have never gone to school, but when you see how they have structured their businesses, the different theories that they have brought into their businesses, I bet you they are far better than Harry Fayo with his 14 principles of management. They are far better than Abraham Maslow in terms of hierarchy of needs. They have structured the business that the business can be far much sustainable with or without them. And people in Cameroon, when they are copying, when young people want to copy from the others, they think, hey, this man is doing this man is doing this, and they just copy. They don't put in structures. It's all about them. And with the advent of the new media, the social media, everybody wants to be there, and people see them as being the boss. And that's not good for business, because I don't want to make noise on the social media, but I want to see the numbers in terms of volumes. What am I delivering in terms of services? If you own a restaurant like Nina, I think you should be looking at how many clients, how many plates of food have I sold this week, and how many plates can I sell next week, and how can I increase these numbers? Is it that there's too much pepper? I like food, so that's why I like to use such example. Is it that there's too much pepper in the sauce that I prepare? Is it that there's too much salt in it? Should we drop this? So you start looking at, maybe you have to talk to some of your clients and find and get the feedback to be able to implement it. That is not done in Cameroon. When we wanted to start our business, Cedric and myself, 4 years ago, we actually saw the need of what we are doing. And that's why we've been a solution provider to all of our clients. And we don't look for businesses anymore. We work on referrals. We work on referrals because we have been able to show the few clients we had that we are solution providers. That's actually what works for us. And it works for us because we had actually structured the business from the beginning, and we had a vision. Like I tell people all the time, I'm the CEO, I have a salary. People say, no, you make a lot of money. I said, no, I have a salary. I earn a salary from the business. So like any other person in the business, at the end of the month, our accountant wires a salary to my account. And that's just part of the structuring. Whereas if we don't do it that way, 10 million comes in, Cedric takes 5, I take 5, and then what becomes of the business?
That's true. You're making a very good point, Osbert. Now, we're already looking at the errors, the mistakes that many young Cameroonians make when they're getting into business. I'd like for us to explore that some more. Are there other issues, Nina, let me come to you. Are there other issues that you think entrepreneurs in Cameroon are not really paying attention to, which is causing the downfall of their businesses?
Well, from experience, and because couple of years ago, people used to invite me, Nina, I would love you to come speak at conferences, the Catholic University, I would love you to speak at this conference, and you know. So I actually attended a few, and for personal reasons I withdrew, and I think I'll start with the reason why I withdrew from most of those conferences, because I really wanted to know if some of the organizers are really, like, when I attend some and I listen to people talk, it doesn't go well with me. Like, you can't just sit and you're telling young graduates, let me say the year 3s who are about going out into the world, you know, you don't sell a fake dream.
Right.
You don't. I think I was the last speaker, and I told them, the students, I said, I may shock you because you are here expecting me to tell you, oh, you can be your own boss. When you leave, you can start up a business. Anything business you want to do, you need capital. You need money to start. No matter how small, you need money. So what I realized is, the reason, like, they just go in because they have this self-motivation, like, I can do what I want to do, I have this idea, I can market it this way. There is a process. And when I also came to it, I told him, I said, listen, there is no crime in being employed.
Yeah.
You are young. If you graduate at 21, 22, you pick up a job. You can have this beautiful idea you're nursing.
Yeah.
Pick up a job. When you close from your job at 5 o'clock, you go home, you can pick your pen and paper and you're writing some of those your ideas. You're nursing them. Over the weekend, you ask 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah.
You meet some people. Hey, I have this beautiful idea. What can I do? Maybe 1 or 2 years. Each month when they pay your salary, you say, okay, I'm going to invest this percentage of my salary to save for this, my business. I will start maybe in 2 years. Those people who even follow such procedures end up better. Because you have people who graduate and they make little or no efforts looking for a job. They are starting from here. Maybe they want to do makeup, they want to do this bag, they want to do this. Anything which is just training at the moment, they want to pick it up. Then it collapses. So I told them, I said, listen, we always say you can start from somewhere. But I bet you there are circumstances where there is that somewhere is nowhere. You need to get employed. I still want, and I'm still begging our youths, there is no crime in being employed. If you graduate and you are fortunate to pick up a job and work.
Yeah.
It's never too late to be an entrepreneur. Am I lying? It's never too late. It's never too late. There are so many errors, there are so many failures we all encounter, but it's very dangerous when you just want to start with no backing. There are some people who want to start and they have some financial support from their families, you never know, but you can't just want to start out of the bloom. So some of these challenges come because, like I said, the motivation, the atmosphere, what they hear, you can be an entrepreneur, you can start from anywhere, you can be your own boss. Those are some of the things.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. You know, those are some. So I came to realize that some of these conferences are not helping these children.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. And that's why I stepped back. I remember I made a post one day and it brought a lot of people were on conversation on social media. I'm like, can someone who has no business, you're not a business owner, you run no business like nothing, and you're a business coach like in this Cameroon? Because the way I even look at the business, the things I encounter every day, like, I think for you and I to talk now, there should be some level of experience in running some operations in this country, because like he said, it's complicated.
It's very, very complicated. It's like I was doing my master's program and they had to bring in someone with a PhD to teach us entrepreneurship. And I asked her, have you ever owned a business before? She said no. I was grossly disappointed. Because entrepreneurship is not something that can be taught in school. Don't get me wrong, it can be taught in school, but it can be taught in school using the right manner. By bringing, I think if you want to teach us entrepreneurship, you should be able to bring in entrepreneurs to talk to us. We don't end at the level of theories.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to sit and tell me why you are supposed to be an entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. If you are telling us that, you should bring people who have owned businesses, because failure is part of the process of being a successful entrepreneur. I tell people all the time, I pay my fees without my truck. I pay my school fees to be a businessman. Meaning that when I failed, I learned a lot. I learned a lot that you don't just sit and you look at things from the surface. You need to be able to dig and dig and dig to get what's right. You need to do, if you don't call it research, you need to do due diligence to be able to show that the business venture you're embarking on is worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you look at the curriculum in Cameroon, it's been structured in such a way that if you have to teach people entrepreneurship in school, bring the right people. Like Nina said, don't bring people that will fake it. I call them conventional speakers because business is somewhat unconventional. Someone will tell you this in Cameroon. Cameroon is tough.
You need to bring people who are able to share their experiences.
Real
life
experiences.
Yeah, it's not like telling me 1 + 1 is 2. In some cases,
It will not be
in
2 in Cameroon.
business, it will not be 1 + 1 is 2 in Cameroon. It will be 1 + 1 is 11 in Cameroon. You know what I'm talking about? So that's the way we are supposed to look at it if we want to keep these numbers growing and keeping businesses afloat.
Right. Now, regardless of how you go about starting your business, whether you get the right experiences or you go through the proper route or you just jump into it, you're going to face challenges.
Yeah,
True.
Very true.
Richie, what are some of the challenges that entrepreneurs in Cameroon have to deal with?
I think probably the greatest is themselves.
Okay. How?
If yes, I'll explain that. If you succeed to overcome yourself, then you may be able to weather any other storm that comes. So let me try and get a little practical so we don't sound like we're in a conference.
Right.
So if you ask Cameroonians today who are looking for jobs, say give us your CV, almost 98% of them somewhere would say they know how to use that service you call Microsoft Office Suite, right? That pack they call Office Suite has something they call Microsoft Word. It has something they call Excel, PowerPoint, and things, Publisher. I may not even be able to name them all. Me, I've put on my CV that I am excellent in using MS Suite services. By excellent, I meant I could type well. I know how to indent paragraphs, some basic things. But mama, the things you can do on a Microsoft Word document, someone will sit on his phone and do you a flyer that you go pay money to study Photoshop or InDesign to do on MS Word document, and you would be wowed. Those are the people Microsoft will call expert in using MS Word. We are so superficial because you've read 1-2 books, because you've had an opportunity one day to attend a meeting that Bonida Shako was the speaker at. All of a sudden you think that you know so much about business, you can tell other people how to do business. Worst of all, you think you've had enough to get into business to try it yourself. Now, I don't want to say this to sound discouraging. It's very okay with even the limited knowledge that you have to get on and do what you have to do. But the one thing that I see entrepreneurs that have earned my respect come back from is that at a certain time life will hit you, regardless of how skilled you are, regardless of how knowledgeable you are, and regardless sometimes of even how much money you have. The reason I say one of the things you need to overcome first is self is in this country we have crazy taxation policies. Sometimes it's not even the policy, it's the people, it's the taxation officers who sit in their offices, get hungry, and some man in the quartier who is struggling to manage his business has set up a little boutique. They come close his shop because he's unwilling to give them a 25,000. That incident would break the hairdresser who left UB with a chemistry degree, says I can't find work, I know how to do hair, and sets up a salon and does not have the spirit to be able to resist that. The other person who has the entrepreneurial endeavor in them would go, okay, now this is a downfall, how do I get back up? Do I go make a friend in the taxation office so that I can try and now I'm telling you this is the way Cameroon works.
Sure, you can lobby.
You can lobby.
You need to leverage on your network.
Go there. Know people. There is no harm in you. Don't all these people that you see on all these stars that you see us on TV like that. We're not the people who can do anything. Forget. Go find yourself, say, a taxation officer. Make friends with them. The day they come to close your shop, call him. Brother, they want to close my shop. If you're into marketing and you are not so skilled, find someone that you know. One of the things they'll tell you is, we don't have human resource, so I need this kind of person. I don't want to find that person. Take this media organ. if I think I'm as good a journalist as I think that I am, and then some media organ that just came up yesterday says, Richard, we want you, and I weigh my services against what they do, and I say, you can't pay me. That entrepreneur on that other side who says, okay, I can't afford Richard, so I'll settle for someone less, his business will crumble. The one who goes, I need this young man to make my business what I need to grow. I have to make him an offer he cannot refuse. So I may not be able to pay you. Can I sell you shares? Can you own 5% of my business? I desperately need you, right? You're not selling yourself short. To the person who needs capital, I've met people who have great business ideas and they go, oh, I can't do a business plan. Just hear what I'm telling you. You should know that I need this. If you know that this person who has the capital that I need wants a business plan, learn it. There's no harm in that. The challenges for business in Cameroon, we honestly cannot enumerate them. The only one thing I can tell you is that any entrepreneur in Cameroon, build a fort around yourself that a Trojan horse can't even. I mean, if there is anything, Osbert was talking about Silicon Mountain. I don't know if he's gonna have. Let me just say it. I may not be able to get him to get his permission. Let me tell you something I learned from Churchill. Churchill is a techie, Manda. But Churchill reads almost everything that is readable. I've never had a conversation with him on psychology that he was not strong enough. You don't have a conversation with him on church, even if he's not going to church, that he has not read it. He's spread out because his job is a techie, and so you're going to have people in the energy sector. He knows nothing about drilling, who would come to him to say, build us a program on drilling. The difference with entrepreneurs that don't survive, who pick up a few skills, is the average entrepreneur who does coding sits and goes, you need 1, 2, 3. The person who says, I know a little more about astrology. It's not necessary for you to be a coder, but I've studied more. When you build a website for NASA, it's 10 times better than a programmer from MIT who doesn't understand basic astrology. If you are a musician even, and you take time to study basic literature, to just up your prose a little, that you can talk well. Say you're an actor, you read. That's all that we need, so that you can sit on set and they ask you a question and you answer fine. So that a screenwriter can write something on a script and you go, this doesn't sound right, or maybe you could do this better. Those are skills that people in that sector don't necessarily think it's an added advantage to them. Get them. I'm saying spread your knowledge, spread your tentacles. Don't hold yourself back to one thing and say, because I'm an engineer, I only want to learn maths, I only want to learn this. If you gave me an engineering plan and I'm a literary student, and then I see the way you write your intro, so you put something that Shakespeare said in it, Mama, you say, how much is this house? 10 million. Brother, take the 10 million. I may be exaggerating it a little, but I think we need to get to the point where we have all-round built people. It's the disadvantage that our economy gives to us that makes us need to learn these things, because your economy is not. Osbert was talking about an accountant. If you start a business today in Cameroon and you hire an accountant and you don't even have basic knowledge on what accounting principles should be like, one, in starting, you don't have enough money to pay.
You need to be able to understand
accountant,
cash inflows,
at least
the basic.
There's no harm in going online. Those things are there, so that when your accountant,
softwares that you can use.
Great. So when your accountant puts a balance sheet in front of you at the end of the month, you understand what he's saying. Otherwise, you'll be paying him for no reason.
Google is your friend.
Google is now. Thank you very much, Nina, for me. See, there is no excuse for not knowing something in this age. I can't remember who said it. Some great entrepreneur in, I think maybe Jeff Bezos said, if someone gives you a job today that you don't know how to do it, take it. Then get to work learning how to do it. There is nobody in this world right now that should be able to beat you at something that you need to know, especially if that thing is online. So practical example. Recently, I was faced with a challenge. I wanted to do some work, and I looked, because I was here now, looked for someone, statistician, to do that work for me. And the few people that were good enough, the money was way over my head. I took my small computer for 3 nights. I sat in my house day and night. My wife would testify if she was watching. And then on the final day, I showed her, this is what I did. And this is something that required that I pay a statistician at least a 300K. Now, that information was there for you online, but you have to be able to know how to go source it. It's an excellent character in entrepreneurs' resourcefulness.
Wow.
You need to know how to navigate the bends, because they would come at you at every direction.
Right. And Osbert, outside what Richie has been talking about, what are the challenges that you as an entrepreneur face?
Honestly, I'll tell you that I'm a very versatile person.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say I'm a Samuel Eto'o that always call the goals. They always face challenges. And like Richard said, I leverage a lot on my network. I'm one person that if you give me your ears, I'll kill you. So the moment I'm able to get your attention, I should be able to live with what I should be able to live with what I came for. They always say in marketing, know your audience. I think in everything I do, I always try to know my audience. Study them. Like Richard made mention of the fact that you shouldn't be an engineer and you only stick that you're ex-engineer. You should be able to be versatile in other domains. So if I'm coming to you, I know Diane is this person, she would like this. If I want to get this from her, I have to approach her this way. So it works for me in such a way that when we are going for a business pitch, for example, I do my research, I do my homework. I always call it homework. If you are unable to do your homework, that's where you get it all wrong. So we face challenges a lot. For example, my partner Cedric thinks that he should be able to clone himself because he's so good at programming that he finds any other person far
lacking.
Yes. So I tell him all the time, don't forget that you can't clone yourself. So what should we do? We lack people with the technical know-how in terms of tech, because the guys who come from Boya, they are really good, but the thing that they know too much in such a way that if you want to educate them, it's a problem. They feel like they have reached the point of satiety. So for me as an entrepreneur, I'm always willing to learn, because learning is a continuous process. The day I stop learning is the day I'll fail. And that's a culture we've inculcated to everyone in the office. Like I asked an intern to send me a file yesterday, and she said the file is too heavy, she can't send it to me via WhatsApp. And I said, okay, it's fine, but can't you look for a way to compress that file and send it to me, because I urgently need it. Any other means in which you want to send it may not be convenient for me. And she said no, she does not have any other way. I said, so with all the resources we have in the office, there is high-speed internet in the office, go online, go on YouTube and write how to compress a file, and you watch and you do it. She was able to do it. So for me, learning is a continuous process, because the challenges are too many, and mentally you need to be very strong. If you are mentally weak in Cameroon, you shouldn't be a business owner.
Right.
Because there are days that you will be so frustrated and you want to pick up a job, and at times people ask me, I want to hire you for the. I said no. It's true what you are giving me, I may not be making up to this amount at the end of the month, but I think within the next 10-15 years I'll be making times 10 times 20 of what you're offering me. But I need to be able to sacrifice now, face all the challenges, look for ways to overcome them, and I'll be good. So I believe that mentally you need to be very strong, because your mindset has a lot to do with you. When Richard talks about you yourself, it's all about your mindset. If you are able to build a firewall that says even if it's as tough as what you are going to overcome, you'll be successful.
Right.
The tax guys will always be there, and I bet you
today you can be friends with this one, tomorrow he leaves, there's another. So you should be able to, before you want to make them your friends, always try to respect the rules.
Yeah.
Because when you respect the rules, you know, Cameroon is a country of how can I put it? One minister said one time something that really made me, that Cameroon is a country of rule and law, something like that. And I asked myself that when you understand these laws, you can be able to break them, because you can only break them when you understand them. But I bet you, a tax officer is someone that you can't break the laws with them. If you have to break the laws with them, you need to be very smart. So before you want to break the law, you need to understand the law, and you need to always
For
try
starters,
to respect it. Pay your taxes. Fortunately for us, most of our clients do pay us, and they do what we call they withhold our taxes, so we don't have any problem with.
Right.
Yeah. So all we need to do is to declare the transaction.
Okay.
So some other persons may not want to do it. They will not declare it, thinking that is the money. The first thing is in business is you should know that all the money that comes in is not your money. Taxes, it's not your cash. So mentally, you need to be able to know that you don't need to be greedy. Because some persons will always face these problems, tax issues, because they are greedy. They think the government's money is theirs. It's not yours. Pay. It's an ecosystem where the money gets, there's inputs, there are processes and output. So once you understand that there's a chain, you respect it, and I bet you may not, the headache that you have will be better. Imagine that a tax guy comes to your office and everything is straight. I don't think that guy will be stupid to disturb you. Because, you know, the government has put in ways in which corruption can actually be managed right now in the taxation sector. For example, we have what we call online declaration, tele-declaration, where you pay your taxes online. You're able to track everything online, and you have your receipts. You wire the taxes through a bank to a bank account, to government treasury. All of that is helping us as business people. So when we want to look at the problems too, we should be able to applaud the government for the efforts they have made, so as to be able to assist business owners in Cameroon. So I think basically we need to be able to learn every day. You need to be able to understand how client acquisition can keep your business afloat. Because I'll tell you something, customer services in some places in Cameroon is very bad. The reason
everywhere.
The reason why I'll go to Nina's all the time is because they are very polite. Not that the ladies there are very beautiful. They are very polite. And when you come every day, it's like you're at home every day. It's something that we lack in Cameroon. The moment people start making profits, they become arrogant. I know a lot of business owners that have not been able to continue with their businesses because of arrogance. The millions comes in, they think, oh, we have money, they become arrogant, and before they know it, most of their clients have disappeared, and the business is not sustainable. So it has to do with your mindset, the way you tailor it, the way you manage the business, and the way you manage talent, because we have a problem with talent in Cameroon. People don't know that people work for them is an investment. I was shocked when Richard talked about giving shares to people. If I know you are a valued worker in a company, we'll give you shares to us to keep you, because we make you understand you're working for yourself.
Yes.
You're not working for us. So when you make people to have that mind of ownership, it's part of the sustainability plan you're building for your company. It's all about sustainability.
All right. Now, Nina, outside the challenges that you face generally as an entrepreneur, there are other issues that are peculiar to you because you're a woman. What are some of those things
I don't want to be gender biased.
No, I'm not being.
No, you're gender biased.
I'm not being gender biased.
No, all of us face challenges.
That's right.
Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that when you say as a woman.
Yeah.
No, all of us face challenges. As a man, I face challenges too.
Yeah.
Why won't you think that maybe women are harassing me?
No.
You should think about it. Richard, I'm sure you might have experienced harassed. You should think about that.
Unfortunately for you, us, but we're not talking about harassment today.
No, not that. But I'm just like, all of us have challenges.
Yes, but I am particularly interested in the challenges that female entrepreneurs have to deal with, because like it or not, there are problems that they deal with. Okay.
Let's hear
All right.
if
Yes.
Nina would agree.
Yes.
Okay, see, okay. I'm going to talk from two perspectives, okay? Maybe one will be shocking. You know, I think we have grown above that age or that era where we felt women were so limited.
Correct.
I'm a living example. I will not say I'm where I want to be, but I think I'm a force to reckon with. But you know, the whole idea of women are marginalized, women don't have the right opportunities, women are not given the space. I think we are gradually coming out of that age.
Surmounting that.
Because let me use myself as an example. I came to Douala. I used to come to Douala frequently, but I decided to move to Douala when the crisis intensified. And when I moved to Douala with my plans, I met a couple of people. As I journeyed in Douala, I didn't really feel people, you know, trying to suppress me. On the contrary, when I go somewhere, people encourage me. You understand? When we always start looking at women and the challenges particular to women, it goes towards the sexual harassment and, you know, kind of direction. But what we have today is, shockingly, I think some of our young girls love maybe the approaches from, they believe that that is a way they can cross through some of these bridges. They can open some doors for themselves. I'm going to be very honest. We have those female entrepreneurs who think they will use their physical, you know, endowments to be able to make a way for them.
They do use it.
And then sooner or later they start crying foul play, and you know, and they start saying, oh, these people want to sleep with us before they give us this bed. You know, pretentiously that was the aim. There are two things. If you go somewhere, my mom always says, everything happens at the right time. If you go to an office and you drop something and somebody says, hey, I can help you, bird, you know, we are not kids. If you see that sign, the moment you start meeting up with that person, it means it's a done deal. You're in for it. But if you back out like, okay, I really want this deal with this company, but since this is the obstacle and I cannot give in, then maybe I get my mind off it for a while. Maybe I could try again sometime later. So I think about that point, it's personal. Some people, yes, I don't, but secondly, women are not disciplined enough when they are running businesses.
Okay.
How do I say disciplined enough? When I came to Douala, even my classmates can testify. I had people telling me, oh, Nina, you don't socialize. We don't see you. You don't hang out. Sometimes on weekend when they're hanging out, most of them have their good jobs. We don't hang out.
You have a better job.
Many people didn't understand. When I came, things were hard. I was like, okay, this is a big town. How am I going to start? I took my apartment and my parlor was virtually empty. What do I want to do? I want to sell food. What do I need in my house? My kitchen. I equipped just my kitchen and my bedroom where I'm going to sleep, and I went to work. I bought my delivery bike. The discipline is not there. You have female entrepreneurs who will sell today. They don't have that ethics and the discipline of, okay, what do I save? What was even the capital? What is the profit? You know, the labor. They don't even know how to differentiate some of these things. And then so you see, we are sometimes the challenge in our own businesses. You see, the discipline of, like, many people who know me know I'm not a spendthrift.
Yeah.
You even have sometimes, I once made a comment somewhere that says, somebody really told me, said, Nina, you conto for your own self. I watch every franc. I should know why it was spent. And, you know, and just like he said, the structure. It's good to build a good structure. And, you know, it comes with time. When I started, I was doing almost everything. I was my own accountant. I was my own publicist. I was my own marketer. I was doing everything. I was cooking. I was doing everything. But, you know, you observe your growth. As you're growing, you start giving out some of those responsibilities. You start giving out some of those responsibilities, and you can only do that when you're growing and when you can afford it, because you won't keep people and you're not able to pay them. You understand? So those are some of those challenges we face: the growth, the maturity, the discipline. If I wasn't disciplined, trust me, people look at me in Douala like, some people think, oh, I did something particular others have not done. No, I just worked hard, and I was ready for any opportunity which I could make. Before I could sell a pack of food, I'm like, okay, what do I want? The food delivery, like I always say, was the strategy for me to have a restaurant. I didn't want to start from a restaurant because to just open a place. How do I start telling people, oh, come, there's a restaurant here. Oh, come, there's a restaurant here. No. I realized that, okay, if I can do food delivery, it's going to make me to know a lot of people. And that is why before I could start food delivery, you can bear me witness, I did a promo online saying, oh, if you can share my page, you know, you win a chance to have a free meal. I actually made sure I didn't give 2 people in the same office a free meal. So by the end of 3 days, I was giving 30 people free meals, and they were from 30 different offices. Only I knew them through online, through the internet. And by the 3rd day, I have 30 contacts from 30 locations that I started sending my menu to. Oh, I'm cooking this today. If you're interested, you know, you can order. And just like that, before I could do 6 months, I had like 100 different locations of people who had called. And just like, so it was the pathway for me to gather a clientele and to have my name on people's lips direct as reference. So as I was growing, I started realizing, okay, this, I cannot have a structure. I take in this, you know, so that is, you must be able to, and it's discipline. You can, we have a lot of young girls who want to be entrepreneurs, but I always tell people, I said, you need to draw a line between your business and your personal life. You need to draw a line. And the truth is, I say, we know times are hard. You need to manage. I tell my friends sometimes, I said, the reason I don't hang out with people, I cannot afford your lifestyle. I can't afford I can't keep up looking very flamboyant, you know, Brazilian hair one come out, I have Brazilian, iPhone 11 is out, I have this, you know, you want to keep on everything. It's not bad. I always tell people, when they tell me, I say, okay, I have the time where I'm going to sit, and I call, I say, oh, come and change his hair, come and change this. I say, because I know even if I'm sleeping, I've gotten to a point, even in my sleep, money is entering my account. But now is the time to work. I give up. Yeah, sometimes I'll look and I'll say, this takes 200,000 just to put. I'll say, but maybe this money can help me actually do something, you know. So we have to understand that we cut off those excesses. We starve ourselves of some of those distractions to be able to enrich our ideas, enrich our businesses, and plow back into the business. So I think the problem women face is one, discipline. Most female entrepreneurs I have entrepreneurs who close their businesses at any time and maybe go on a program or go, you know, there is no discipline. You call, oh, this, I'm not, this business, I'm tired, I'm not sure, you know. Then you have my dear, the problem with women is like, oh, he said, I've had doors open for me in Douala from nowhere. Why? I was ready.
Yeah.
When I came to Douala, I went to the register de commerce. I looked for where their office was. I registered my brand. I asked them, what is the next step? They educated me there. I went to the next step. I went to and got my taxpayer card. From that taxpayer card, they told me, oh, where do you live? Okay, your center is at Bepanda, because back then I was at Makepe. So it's okay, you have to go to Douala Senkiem. When I went there, I asked, I said, please, I'm new. You know, I humble myself so that I can see somebody who will be able to look at me like, oh, let me help this girl. They put me through. I had all my documents ready. I was selling, and I remember even the chief of center there looked at my documents, and he asked me, where are you selling from? I said, I'm in the very place I'm staying. I said, I don't have a restaurant of my own. He said, why are you even registering it? You should go and start, and, you know, you see how you even succeed before you come. Why are you even wanting to be paying taxes? I told him that, said, don't worry, I know what I'm doing, and I know where I'm going to.
At the bigger picture.
And before people were noticing, the opportunities started meeting me. I was prepared. Somebody was just calling, Nina, do you have your, you know, we're a company now, we don't deal with individuals. Do you have your papers? We want you to cook for a seminar in our office. And of course, I have my taxpayer. I have everything. Attestation de non-redevance, everything, you know. So you prepare yourself for the opportunities. I didn't get contracts by magic, no. I sat down, even when I got one of my huge contracts, which people looked at me and were like, this girl just came to do it. I got a contract which you and I know, you know, many people would die to have. And when it came my way, some people actually asked me, say, Bo, who do you know there? I'm like, I know nobody. When somebody sent me the information that they were recruiting for a restoration for their country, I looked at it and I'm like, oh God, I've never done this before. And just like you said, I went online. I called my brother who is very good in things like that. I said, I've seen this opportunity. Can you help me? I went online, I'm researching. He said, I'm writing, I'll send to him. Can you read this proposal? Does it sound convincing? Does it? He was okay, change here. And just like that, I went and I wrote a very good, I read and I was proud of myself, and I dropped the proposal. I went and I never knew where the office was. I went and looked for it, and I dropped my proposal, and just like magic, they called me. 3 months of procedure, you know, they had other files. from food tasting to everything and everything, numerous interviews. You have a panel of like 10 people, and just like a joke, I knew nobody, and just like a joke, I was awarded the country, and things like that. Doors start opening and start opening. When opportunity meets preparation, there's bound to be success.
Right.
There is bound to be success. So I think we should first of all work on ourselves before we start blaming the environment. Gone are those days, my dear, where you see you get into an office. I hardly even get into offices. When I even meet males, you know, and directors and things, and I get into offices, there's a lot of mutual respect. I'm not saying you don't have those who try, but there's a way you pass, you know, there's a message you pass across, even in your silence, in your words, and it either shuts the person up, or, you know, so
just like Richard and myself respect you a lot.
Yeah, you say
That's
so. So I think we should work on ourselves, and we should put down some of those excuses which comes from, we have grown past that era. Women are making it. We are no longer intimidated. In fact, some of the companies I work with, the general manager actually even like, keep going, you know. They encourage you. They want to see women grow. So I think it's about, you know, working on yourself first.
Diana, honestly, I think that women are better managers than men.
Okay.
To a certain degree. Let me tell you why. I hang out with too many business owners that are male, and the way they spend, most of them are spendthrift. But I tell you, when you look at Nina, she can buy whatever kind of Brazilian hair that is sold in the market, but she always see it with a good low hair like yourself. Not that she can't afford it, because I always tell my friends there is a difference between needs and wants. And as an entrepreneur, if you don't understand your needs and your wants,
You're gone.
you're finished. Yeah, I mean, you're finished. So I always look at women as better managers than us. So when you made mention of the challenges she faced as a woman, I felt like you are giving some lazy women out there excuses to tell people why they cannot be successful as an entrepreneur and all of that. No. So women
Now I understand the reason why you were protesting when I asked that question.
Yes, I want every woman out there, because this is what I from the beginning I didn't say it. I grew up selling. My partner Cedric was my client from class 2. Yes.
Oh, you're selling Calabar?
I used to sell puff. I used to sell gato in front of her house.
All right.
My mom would do that before she goes to work. And I bet you, my mom has always been the better manager than my dad, even in the house. Are you getting me?
Yes, I get you.
So, women should not give excuses of I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm a woman, I've been sexually harassed. No, stop giving excuses. There's always a way to come out of those things successfully. Yeah. So people should stop.
It's
Women
a yes
should stop
or no
giving challenges
deal or
to
no
themselves.
deal. Do you
I
want
bet
it? You go for it. If you don't want, you back out.
I bet you the biggest bang I have in my home is my wife.
She's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And Richie, you report on business issues and things like this. And whenever we read about women, I mean, I'm not yet female entrepreneur, so all I do is read about these things and report on them as well. Now, when we read about women and business and women and entrepreneurship, especially in Africa, we read about what women complain about the inaccessibility to loans and just the environment that makes it difficult. Now, from what I've heard from Nina so far, she didn't experience that. Are we saying? Oh no, I experienced.
Yeah.
I'm sure she experienced it because she has talked about the growth.
Yeah.
And
no, I
didn't think I'm
Okay.
saying it because I personally know when she started.
Okay.
All right. When she started, like
I'll come to you in a minute, in just a minute. Now, I wanted us to look at these real issues. I'm not talking about whether people are going to ask to have to get intimate with you and all of that. Now, those things that make it difficult, for example, for a woman to get a loan. Now, if I went to the bank to get a loan as a woman, and you went to the bank to get the same loan, I bet you a man will get that loan easier than a woman. Richie, I want to hear from you on this.
No, okay.
No, I don't think banks are discriminatory.
Okay, no. Can we just hear from Richie?
Honestly, I think banks are not discriminatory.
Okay, in just a minute, I'll be back to you.
I've been in that sector before.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that your crediworthiness depends on your credibility.
Okay.
There are some other factors that will take in play, that they will take into consideration, but the credit ratings are not done based on that.
Gender.
Okay, all right.
It's not gender bias.
Okay.
It's not gender bias.
Let me get with his opinion. Let me get with his opinion.
And so Manda is talking from a macro level, and while this particular instance may not be the perfect example. It's a matter of marginalization.
Okay.
And whether we like it or not, in Africa and in Cameroon, women are still a marginalized community. Let me explain before I finish. So this is the thing. So let me take people who are visually impaired. I know people who are visually impaired who can do things on a computer I have no idea how they do. And yet every day you drive around Aqua, you see people who are visually impaired with a basket, and then they're begging you. If you tailor your narrative to the visually impaired people who stand on the streets to beg for money, then you would understand, or you would see it this way. But then the person who says, my impairment would not hold me back, I can do better, I can learn to read Braille, I can do something with myself, are the people who begin to change the narrative about the way we see visually impaired people. Personally now, when I see somebody who is impaired in any way or the other, who chooses to either beg, it's rather a service to their cause for me, because ever so often I go, bros, I've seen people in worst case scenarios, and then there are days when my mind is so messed up, I'm way more impaired than you, who probably doesn't only hear or doesn't see. So it doesn't suffice to generalize, but to some instances, if you take, for instance, access to land in Cameroon, 50% of the people who own land in Cameroon have it because of it was inherited, hereditary, however you call that, right? How many women are top in line to inherit their parents' land titles?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, to the extent to which banks would give you a loan based on you having a land title. By that argument, women become marginalized.
Yeah, sure.
Now, there are certain companies.
It doesn't mean that women don't own
no, that's not what I'm saying.
And I know women that's the only collateral that banks do, financial institutions do accept.
Yes, that's
issuing out loans,
and that's not at all what I'm saying. And so let me give you another example to buttress the facts. Let me use someone practical. Take Rebecca Enonchong. Yeah. She's into techie, and she's CEO for Appstech, and she's told her story several times when she would send emails to people, like I'm sure sometimes Eternal would do, and say, I can build this software and this platform for you, and they say, great, we want to have a meeting with your CEO. And then, because it's such a company that's become almost a household name at the time in America, then this lady would come up, and then they would go, we said we want a meeting with your CEO, because by some function in their thinking, whether it is right or wrong, they expected to see a man. Now it may not,
social norms,
it may not affect,
yes
it is. So let me explain what I'm saying. It may not affect that deal even on that table, but it affects her, because she goes back and thinks maybe she doesn't get the deal, and it simply wasn't because she was woman or not. It's just maybe she did not have what it takes to get it. But she goes back and says, I went in there and they said, oh, we thought you were going to be a man. What it does is it kills her confidence, and maybe on the next level she's not going to be able to hold up herself in the same esteem as she would have. In other cases, it makes her work harder. These are the disadvantages that we say that women have. But like Nina has clearly stated, you take these challenges and you turn them into opportunities. So because I'm a woman, and like she's testified, she gets into an office and then someone goes, oh, I didn't expect you'd be a woman That's why they respect her more, like she said. If you infer into that, if the business has grown this way this much, true, even in her scenario, it's even way more practical because we think women should be the chefs. So it's almost taken that she would be the chef of Nina's cuisine. But then someone goes somewhere and then looks at her and say, "Oh, I thought you are the cook." I don't know if you understand what that would do to her mindset and the way that someone sees. It's two completely different things. That someone chooses to address her as a chef and that someone else chooses to address her as a cook. One is a demeaning role, and one is accepting. This is who this person is.
This is my point. The reason why I don't want people or women complaining all the time about this, that, because we are unable to do this, that, because this we cannot do this, that, because we are a woman. I think it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No.
The reason why it doesn't make sense.
Wait. I do not think we are trying to
say that women cannot do certain things.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll hold my grounds on this. I'll hold my grounds on this very strong. I hold my grounds on this that being a woman is not a disability.
No, it is not. No one has said it is.
And if you come from that school of thought that being a woman makes you to work 2 times stronger than a man, you will be better than a man. But if you keep on thinking that being a woman, there are too many disadvantages, then you are making a mistake.
Why does being a woman make you work 2 times more?
That's the point we're trying to make.
It is better to say it. I think that's the right way to say it. That being a woman means that you're supposed to work 2 times harder than a man.
It means you are disadvantaged.
Exactly.
Which is much more polite and much more motivating than saying that because you are a woman, you are incapacitated for being a woman. No, I have a daughter, so I don't want to give my daughter excuses tomorrow.
Husband. Okay, we agree. Being a woman means you have to work 2 times harder. Okay, it's a challenge women have to surmount,
exactly,
which men do not have to deal with, because, like it or not, in the world of entrepreneurship, in almost everything there is male domination. That is all we are trying to say. Now, unfortunately, we don't have so much time. I'd just like for us to talk very briefly, final words, the way forward. How do we make entrepreneurs in Cameroon? How can entrepreneurs in Cameroon improve? How can they sustain their businesses? We don't want to hear of people abandoning their businesses after a year or 2, after a couple of months. How do they keep it going? Just very briefly and very quickly. Richie, let me start with you.
I think that the people who've made it to the top owe it to the people underneath the ladder rungs to help them up. I don't know how many times Nina has shared her story, but I can guarantee that the more she does, I can bet you that this story she shared, especially this last part, how practical, who she went to, how she went to it, would help someone. Because almost everybody in Cameroon, it's the new hype, wants to be something. The challenge is, how do I go about it? It is for the people who've made it to tell their story, and not to tell it in such a way that it sounds like beautiful prose. Tell it with all the ugliness of it and with all the truthfulness of it, so that the people who hear it know what they are up against. And generally, I'm going to say, I'd say this: it's a tough place to do business in Cameroon. So brace up, roll up your sleeves. It's going to be hard work, but for those who endure, those who can afford to look beyond now, those who are not looking for emergency in 2035, who are looking for something better about where the world can be at, it is possible that we can change this desert into a garden of bloom.
Right. Wow. No. Nina.
Okay, thank you very much. The last thing I will say is trust the process. Who I am today, it's like 10 years of try and error, try and fail, try and succeed. I've sold almost everything. My classmates know me. I sold mesh and Okrika in my room in the university. While I was
I'm sure you had a salon.
Yeah, I had a salon in the university. While
I
I
was
was
also a client when she had a salon.
No, I wasn't.
It's clear.
When I started Nina's Slow Boys, I had a lot of challenges, insults, the work, going, washing. I used to physically wash snails. Even before I could pay people to do it, I was washing. I worked so hard until I felt the pain in my back.
I saw the video.
Right.
So trust the process and keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nina.
Yes,
Okay.
Diane, the only thing I would say is failure is part of the process.
Okay.
Don't be scared to fail. When you fail, keep on working hard and you'll succeed. Always be very close to the floor so that when you fall, you won't feel it.
Right. Now, if people want to get to you, husband, how do they get to you? People want to do work with you. How do they get you very quickly?
Yeah, just visit website www.eternalcompanyltd.com and you have a contact.
And Nina, what are your restaurants for those who are discovering you for the first time?
Mobile Jonjo, that's Mobile Jonjo, present day Ola, it's just opposite. Or you can just go to our social media page, Chef Nina's Cuisine, one search. You can get the directions on Google Maps.
Right.
And the contact and everything, so you can...
Richard does not have it. Richard does not have a business.
I was so waiting to hear how people get
Richard used to have OJ's kitchen,
Okay.
and then it doesn't. Then he decided to fall bush and become a bush faller. Well, Richard, it's always great to have
a Londonian.
Yes, a Londonian. Let's meet again and have a beautiful chat like this, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you too for having
pleasure.
us. Thank you.
I hope we'll do this again.
Definitely.
Continue the conversation if you take us to Chef Nina's.
Yes, sure. That's it for today, Eric. I'm sorry. Thank you. Bye bye. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you. Let me pull out the...